dear respected football fans, KlarseSport Podcast. We're back again live. Myself, Klaas, and I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Chevy. And today's podcast, we're going to touch on stats regarding players and not defining players strictly by stats only. Chev, what's your view on that?
Yeah, thanks again, Mr. Klaas. I think some stats can be lopsided on opinions, and there are people who, I guess, use stats to back up an argument, but they don't always tell the full picture. I think that's my kind of take on it. What about yourself?
Well, I feel that stats can be very deceiving, and I feel that you can't define a player's greatness through stats, and the reason being, because, a lot of time on Twitter, there'll be a debate, like someone will say, who's better out of this player and that player, and then I see a lot of responses, oh, but he's won so-and-so trophy, and he won this, or he scored this much goals, and I think to myself, so what? At the end of the day, Diego Milito scored 2 goals in the Champions League final. How many strikers have not done that? But where the hell is he? He's not a good striker at all. He just stepped up and scored 2 goals. So what? Where was he before that? Where's he been after that? Do you know what I mean? So stats can be deceiving, and I feel that to judge a player's greatness, you got to judge him on a number of things. What he offers the game, how influential he is to his team. Of course, like obviously, if he's an offensive player, does he step up in big games? Does he score in big games? Does he go missing when he's around big, prominent players as big as himself? These kind of things. It's not just stats only and what you've won. Do you know what I'm saying?
Are there any players that you would draw out in particular to say their stats don't back up their greatness?
Oh, hell yeah, most definitely. I'll start with, no disrespect, but John O'Shea. That was a big one. Yeah, it's like, basically, no disrespect to John O'Shea.
What I meant on the flip side, but we can do that as well.
We'll do
this as well. We'll do this. You might as well.
All right, so
I'll go with this.
I'll go with this. All right, so I'll go with this side. At the end of the day, he's won everything a club player can win. Now, I'm not being rude. That, like, you look at John O'Shea, you look at someone like, let's say Van Dijk, yeah? Who's better out of Van Dijk and John O'Shea? It's a no-brainer. I don't even need to answer that. Unless you're mentally disturbed, you're going to think O'Shea is better than Van Dijk. But if you're looking at stats and you're the sort of person that only goes off stats, in that case, John O'Shea is better than Van Dijk. Ryan Bertrand is, well, if that's the case, he's the best left back in the league.
Is that because they've won trophies?
Yeah. So if you're the sort of person that says, it's all about trophies, well, Ryan Bertrand's won a Champions League.
But then if you break it down to what we, like when we did the Hall of Fame one, when the BBC, they broke it down as longevity, key stats, and what was the last one again?
Major honours.
Major honours. So yeah, I think major honours comes into it, but I don't think it's the be all and end all. Like what you're just saying there, your argument is that the major honours.
Yeah, you can't just base it off, he won that because John O'Shea has won more than Van Dijk. He's nowhere near more. Van Dijk.
By a lot more.
But like you said on the flip side, would you like to
So what I was trying to say on that is, are there any players who you say are great, but their stats don't necessarily say they're great?
Okay, that makes sense. Well, for these little boys and these young fans that didn't get to see R9, they don't seem to think he's great because I keep seeing it on Twitter. Oh, but he's not won a Champions League. Okay, cool, but are we forgetting the things he has done? Like, for instance, apart from Kaka and R9, who has actually come to Old Trafford, pulled their pants down, took a dump right in Old Trafford. That's the best way to put it. Sorry to speak. Henry, he done his bit, but not the way R9's done it. Do you know what I mean? Only Kaka's the only other person I can think of. Like, R9 annihilated Manchester United in Old Trafford. Do you know what I'm saying?
Obviously, I think that's just for the youths because everyone knows R9, the El Phenomenon, bro. His goal scoring stats are unbelievable. I was kind of thinking of players like, let's say if we keep to the Prem for now, I'd say someone who's 2 players who are great, 2 strikers I'm going to throw out there who are great.
Yeah.
and I think they're still classed as great. But if you broke it down on their stats, as I think I've seen some people do in the past, they'll try to argue that they're not great.
Yeah.
Dennis Bergkamp and Gianfranco Zola.
Oh yeah, of course. Especially Bergkamp.
Because they'll say, oh, they were strikers, but they didn't score. Duh, 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 duh.
Yeah, of course.
But I think for me personally, those are two of the greatest strikers that have graced the Premier League, especially what I saw growing up. What they did, what they did off the ball, on the ball, their skill, how they brought in other players, I think is unbelievable. But some might argue they were a striker, but they didn't score X amount.
Well, then that's exactly my argument. If we're going off stats, and that means Raul is better than Thierry Henry, then, and he's not. He's nowhere near Thierry Henry, but he's a goal-hanging striker, same as Inzaghi. Yeah. You know what's funny? You know,
Inzaghi.
Alex Ferguson once said he was born in the offside trap. Yeah. So those kind of goal-hanging strikers, and even if you want to throw out Van Nistelrooy, obviously he could do a bit more.
Yeah.
He's been a top goal scorer in 3 different leagues. But does that mean
quality?
Yeah. He's a fox in the box, but does it mean he's better than strikers that haven't scored as many goals? Hell no, no way. So when you're trying to define a player's greatness, everything's got to come into it. You can't just say trophies or he scored that much amount of goals or whatever. Or even on the other side, you can't just say, oh, but his ability, because a lot of players, they're getting through based on their immense ability. And the player I'm going to throw out there, and I know this is going to rattle some cages, but Iniesta and Xavi, like their ability is blindsiding people to the point where some fans are actually thinking they're the greatest midfielders ever, and they're not. They're not. So what if they've won numerous La Ligas, they won the World Cup, they've won the Euros. All right, cool. Trophies-wise, they've won everything. Cool. They have. And I'm not taking that away from them. But individual brilliance, come on, there's a lot of players, especially better than Xavi. How his name's been blown up this big, it's beyond me. Seriously, like, do you actually, as a football man, as a football fan, I ask you this, do you believe Xavi is better than Pirlo and Modric? Because I certainly don't.
I'd say better than Modric, not better than Pirlo.
But then if I ask you this, what is he better than Modric, chat?
Passing. Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you being serious?
His passing's better than Modric's.
No way.
Yeah.
Nah, no way. Go ahead, go on.
That's what I'm saying. I'd say passing. He's dribbling. I'd say he provides more assists over time, more key passes. So I'll say they. I think Thingy's scored probably better, more long range goals than Modric's probably scored a lot more long range goals than Xavi has, and that's just off the top of my head. But I think overall as a player, what they do for the team, overall I think Xavi's better than Modric.
Is he better than Ozil when Ozil's in his prime?
Who? Xavi. Yeah.
You reckon he's better than Ozil when Ozil's in his prime?
Ozil plays 10 and he doesn't, so it's hard to compare. But I think over longevity, over the career, what Xavi's had, he'll be better than because Ozil is on and off. So I don't think you can compare a couple of good seasons of Ozil to a whole career of goodness from Xavi.
And what about Pirlo and Cruz then? Do you think Xavi's better than them two?
I don't like I said, I don't think Xavi's better than Pirlo. No. Cruz, I'm not a massive fan of Cruz personally, but I know you're a big fan of him. You've watched him more, so I can't really. It'd be wrong for me to say because my opinion will be biased because I've seen more of Xavi.
No, I
don't necessarily rate Cruz like that. So.
I hear that, but just like all right, longevity, you got players like Xavi, and I'm not digging him out or picking on him. I'm just like trying to make some of these fans that just hear all these pundits saying, "Oh, Iniesta and Xavi." But
yeah, there's a lot of hype behind it. Obviously, the dominance they had at Barcelona, there's a lot of hype that sits behind that, and there were key cogs of that. The midfield, and it's at times it's hard to overlook that because at their time of dominance at club, where you had, Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, all playing for the Spanish team at the same time as well for Barcelona, there was much hard breaking that up, and I think even in the national team, I think Xavi Alonso got a bit of time every now and then, but just breaking up the three of them, was quite hard.
Yeah, I agree with that. But even going on to Iniesta, for me, I would say after Bergkamp, he's got the greatest ball control of all time. I'll give him that. I say Bergkamp's first, then him of all time. I'd say that. The only player that comes near to him is Ronaldinho and Messi. They got the greatest ball control. As an actual individual brilliance, Iniesta cannot clean Kaká's boots.
No, I know what you mean.
Fair enough, Kaká fell off, but when Kaká was in his prime,
But that's what I mean. I think it's that one of those key cogs that we spoke about. The key things is longevity, and Iniesta for a long time, arguably one of the best dribblers of the ball for a long, long time. It's like the ball stuck to his feet at times, for years. So it's as much as we respect players like Kaká, it's all well and good saying they did it for a couple of seasons and that makes them great. But when you compare it for a man's been doing that for his whole career, you can't. It's not comparable, fam. Like at one point in the time, Kaká won World Player of the Year. I think for 2 or 3 seasons he was unplayable, but for a long period of time he was. You know what I mean? Even when he went to Real Madrid, he went there injured and he just kind of fell off a little bit. So, to say he's better than Iniesta in his career, I don't know if you can say that.
but that's what I'm saying. Is it only longevity that's holding him to this argument?
It plays a big part. It plays a big part because he's got longevity and he's got major honours.
Yeah.
And then he scored some big goals. He scored a goal that won Spain the World Cup. I'm sure he scored big goals for Barcelona across every competition they played in. So he's got those key moments as well. So he's got the key stats to back it. So that's what I mean. You take what the BBC put those 3 categories, you can't really argue much with that.
But then if we're going off, all right, major honours,
I'll give you an example. On the flip side, you take someone like Maxwell.
Yeah.
The left back Maxwell, yeah? Now, Maxwell has won every competition.
Yep.
Every team he's been with,
Yep.
I think it's Ajax, Barca, Inter Milan, maybe a couple other, like every team he's been with, they've won big honours at club level.
Yeah.
But would you say he's one of the greatest left backs?
Hell no.
No, because was he a key person in the team's argument? Or you could argue it. Longevity, and major honours, and does he have the key stats? Probably not, but he's got major honours, and for a long time he played for a long time and he won a lot. So that's where we go back to what the original point is. Does stats make you a great player? Or does stats comparable to some great players? You know what I mean? And I think that's a good counter argument to use Maxwell as
I think stats play a part, but they can't be the be all and end all. So maybe like if it's like 100% to define a great player, maybe stats will play 30, and then you got to go off what you actually seen with your eyes.
It does, but and at the same time, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, they don't.
Numbers don't lie.
They don't.
So yes, you can be, you go to your John O'Shea argument. Yes, you can have loads of major honours as one, and he'll always have that. But does he have the key stats to back it up? Probably.
Yeah,
not.
numbers don't lie. But at the end of the day, if numbers don't lie, then how do you judge Iniesta versus someone like Lampard that gets double figures every single season? Iniesta barely gets 8 goals a season, 6 goals a season.
No, I think you're more than that. But I don't. Maybe not. But I think it's positionally their jobs are different. So it's hard when you get down to breaking down certain players. Then it becomes like you start nitpicking at little things. And Lampard used to were midfielders, but they were different types of midfielders. They had different roles in their teams. It was Lampard's job for Chelsea to score all those goals. Otherwise, not many men were scoring all their goals like that. But then his contribution was massive.
This is how I break it down. If Messi had an injury where he was injured for the whole entire season, I'm talking the Pep era, could you rely on Iniesta to step up for Barcelona and win them a La Liga title? Because I don't think so. Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't think he would have played a massive part like he did anyway. Without Messi, he would have played a massive part. Would he have been, That's hard to say because then you got to say, oh, would Xavier being that keeper? Would Pedro being that key person? Would David Villa being? You know what I mean? It's like it's hard to just say. Put it on Iniesta, but at times remember Iniesta played on the left. You know,
Yeah,
at the free. He played on the left of the free.
Then
They just played him before, like you know what I mean. He's a key cog of that team because of his dribbling.
True.
The space he gets into because of his awareness. You know. He's a phenomenal player.
No, he's an amazing player, but I'm just saying, like, the way the pundits put him up there as the best midfielder of all time, for me, he wouldn't make my top 10. But do you rate him higher than Seedorf?
Clarence. Man
Exactly.
like Clarence. He's won, 3 Champions League, 3 different teams.
Well, there you go.
Clarence is a baller.
There you go.
Would
Longevity as well.
Would I personally rate him? Would I personally rate Iniesta above Seedorf? No, but would everyone else? So a lot of people, yeah, of course they would because they're Barca fanboys or whatever. But they're just watching modern football. But if you watch Seedorf's career, you can't argue too much with what he's done for it and the longevity as well. You know, fit as a fiddle. But yeah, Seedorf was a baller. Seedorf's a baller. Very good baller.
And even like with some strikers, there's some strikers like you take your Cantonars, your Alan Shearers. You know, Cantona on the international stage never really played for France.
Yeah.
He had his issues. But does that take away his greatness? Is that enough for you to say,
No,
he's not a great striker?
It's like, okay, another example of that, you know, we're sticking with French players, David Ginola.
Yeah.
You know, class player. You know, I'd say he's world class. But did he get the credit and, you know, he deserves outside of everyone? Probably not. But I think he's a great player.
Yeah. Matt Letitia as well. He's
come on, Matt Letitia. Listen.
Yeah, ability-wise.
Listen, the goals Letitia scored, the quality of goals, the touch, the dribbling, come on, underrated.
Yeah, he's his own worst enemy, though. He should have made the move because it feels like it's wasted. You know what I mean? It feels wasted.
Underrated, bro.
Should have made the move.
Letitia is a baller.
Yeah, he is. He is a baller.
And anyone who's doubting what we're saying, go watch them old Premier League years. I'm sure they'll be on now that coronavirus has stopped all football. Get on Sky and watch the Premier League years and tell me about Matt Letitia.
Yeah.
He should have had way more caps for England. Disgraceful that he doesn't.
Exactly. But there's even Alan Shearer. I'm not like a huge, great fan of Shearer, but you have to give credit where it's due. You know, like I remember watching England and everyone was just not stepping up, and you'd always rely on Shearer to get you that goal and make you feel that there was hope.
Shearer has 260 Premier League goals. He's great, bruv. All types of goals. 260 Premier League goals of screamers, headers, penalties, tap-ins. We've seen that one dry hand celebration or the 2-hand celebration 260 times. That's a player I don't believe gets the credit overall in football as one of the greatest strikers.
But then someone's going to tell you Raul's better than him. Raul's better than him because he's won stuff. He's won Champions League and all this stuff. Do you see where I'm going with it?
Raul can't score the goals that Shearer scored.
There you go. Even how highly do you rate Benzema?
I'm not a massive fan. I'm not a massive fan. I think he gets a lot of love just because he plays for Real Madrid. I'm not a massive fan. I don't think he scores loads of goals every season. I don't think he scored loads of goals for a long time in the season. But, you know, again, you know, Benzema. But what Benzema, I do like about Benzema's got that swag off the pitch. You know, it goes on like he's a bit of a bad man. Obviously, he busts a couple cases when he was in France. But, yeah, no, like, do I think he's one of the greatest? Nah, I don't think so, personally. But
that's what I'm saying. If we're going off this stats thing, he's got a lot of UEFA Champions League goals.
Listen, he's got the stats, but I don't think he's better than other certain players, though.
Yeah. Who do you think's better out of him and Lewandowski or him and Suarez?
What?
Well, obviously, I know the answer. I know the answer to this, but
Benzema can't talk to them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously.
No way.
Yeah, me and you know that, but you know, there's some people that think,
listen,
well, you know, he's won the champion. I'll give you another example. A guy came up to me and he said to me, Zidane's the greatest manager because he's won the Champions League 3 times in a row. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? Come on. come on. Like, no disrespect to Zizou, he's one of our heroes growing up. But I mean, he can't be. Would you put Zidane in the top 10 greatest managers of all time?
No, I don't think you can. Not at the moment. You know, again, could he, by the time he finishes, get there? Possibly, but not at the moment. No way. You can't talk to a man like Fergie. Can't even talk to Jose.
Come on,
Pep.
I wasn't even going to name those kind
Klopp.
of people. Yeah, I wasn't going to name the Fergies and the Mourinhos and the, do you know what I mean? The Van Gaals and, do you know what I mean? And
you can't talk
Ancelotti and
no way.
Pep and all that. Nah, but this is the thing about this stats kind of thing. People are so blown away with stats. They actually believe it's the be all and end all, and it's just not the case, because just going back to the players, there's some players that they look the part, but they're not the part. They bid in, like you said about the Maxwells and those kind of people. It's like, it's like for the fans that never got to see Cafu. Like, Cafu is better than Dani Alves, but the stats don't tell you that. But I know, like, he's way better than Dani Alves, and that's not even in a rude way. I rate Dani Alves. He's definitely up there. He's like top 3 right back of all time. But would you say Dani Alves is better than Lahm? Because I wouldn't.
No, not me personally.
All right, but a lot of people listening to this think we're crazy, because Dani Alves is the star boy for Barcelona, played alongside Messi, and you've got them YouTube clips where you see him doing 1-2s of Messi and all that sort of stuff. That, come on, I'm not putting the guy down. I love Dani Alves. For me, he's like top 3 right back of all time. But Cafu's better. But the stats will never tell you that.
Yeah. No, it's true.
It's what I mean.
It's true. Like, we go back to the point of we say about Maxwell. The stats will tell you that he's a better left back than Ashley Cole, but there's no way. Like, if you take the major honours as a stat, they'll say that he's better than Ashley Cole, but no way, cuz.
Yeah, no way at all. How high do you rate Jordi Alba?
Nah, he's good. I think he's good. I don't rate him massively.
Yeah, neither do I. Massively. But look at the stats.
Yeah, of course.
Someone will swear blind that he's one of the greatest left backs of all time.
Yeah. But again, he can't talk to Ashley.
Ashley, he can't talk to a lot of them. I don't even think would he even make a top 15 of all time.
Can he talk to Dennis Owen?
Oh, hell no. He could talk to Dennis Owen now. He could talk to the 45-year-old Dennis Owen, let alone the 25-year-old Dennis Owen.
That's your guy.
That's what I mean. But the stats, they're deceiving, man. And people need to start looking into things. So they need to look into the player's ability, his individual brilliance. Is he a key prominent figure in his team? What does he do on the big stages, on the big occasions? These things need to come into place. Do you know what I mean? But stats are deceiving.